What's up, Penn State fans? I had to do a Penn State video today because I know a lot of you are super pessimistic about some of the recent recruits that you guys lost, but I am here to tell you you're going to be just fine. It's not that big of a deal, and things are still really looking up for Penn State. And I'm telling you that as a Michigan fan, so you got to take it to heart. I'm not just, some blindly optimistic fan. I'm a Michigan fan, and even I am like, Penn State's going to be just fine. Things are heading in a positive direction. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about some of the recent news, just overall how this recruiting class is looking for this year. And I'm going to talk about this year's football team a little bit as well, and why these recent misses really aren't going to make Penn State skip a beat, and why you should still be super hyped. But before I get going into all that, let me just introduce myself if you haven't caught this show before. My name's Paul with my buddy Aaron. We are the Big Ten guys talking Big Ten football every single day. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button too. It really helps us out, and then you can join this awesome Big Ten community. So let's start by taking a look at some of the recent news that have gotten some Penn State fans to be a little upset about the way things are going. And I'll start by saying, I get it. It hurts when you have somebody you think is going to come to your school and they end up surprising everyone and committing elsewhere. The most recent one was Deshaun Hall, wide receiver out of Alabama. He is a pretty high-end four-star recruit. The 247 composite has him at a 93 overall, the number 25 wide receiver. He's from the state of Alabama, so it shouldn't be a huge surprise that he chose to stay in-state. But, there were crystal ball predictions for him to Penn State even up to the day before his recruitment, or before his announcement. So it stinks to watch him go elsewhere. And it especially hurts when you consider they also recently had Jameer Dean decommit, another high-end four-star wide receiver. He decommitted and committed that same day to Georgia. So losing out on two four-star recruits in a matter of weeks, it hurts, and I get that. And then I know there's a lot of Penn State fans who are worried about Khalil Taylor as well. He has not committed yet, but he's actually the best receiver out of the three, according to 247. I guess you never know how these players will develop. I think Matt Campbell is a great developer, but that's neither here nor there. But he is listed as the number 13 receiver recruit, almost a 97 overall, and he's from the state of Pennsylvania. He's been crystal balled to Penn State for a while, but he recently took a trip to Nebraska, who's been on a recruiting tear recently and had a lot of positive things to say about that trip. So I know there's a lot of Penn State fans right now who are like, oh my gosh, are we going to lose Khalil Taylor too? This was supposed to be the greatest receiver class of all time, and all of a sudden we've lost two, and the third one is taking visits to Nebraska and complimenting it there. Is the sky falling? And I'm here to tell you it's not. Things are trending in a very positive direction. At the end of the video, I'll kind of get into a little bit about why I don't think there was even a huge need for getting a receiver, or a great receiver class this year. I'll talk about that at the end. But for one, Khalil Taylor hasn't gone anywhere yet, and he's going to hear, a lot of people have great visits, but he's from Pennsylvania. Penn State has been his school the entire time. He's going to want to hear from Matt Campbell, and Matt Campbell has been doing a great job up to this point. Recently, got another commit from Case Alexander, a high-end four-star linebacker, and you just look at this recruiting class, and it is incredibly impressive, loaded with four-star talent, a lot of three-star talent as well. He's been great at developing those 3 and 4 stars, and it is a top 15 class in the country, and that's considering he was just hired 7 months ago. It is not easy to completely take over a new program and start. I know he has relationships with students, some of the assistants stayed around and have some of those relationships, but you're still more or less starting from square one, and he has them after 7 months already as a top 15 recruiting class. So you really have to tip your cap to Matt Campbell and his staff for the job they're doing. I just can't even imagine how overwhelming this whole process is for these coaches. It's got to be hard to even know where to begin with your recruiting boards. And I'm sure that feeling of stress and being overwhelmed is something we all can relate to. A moment in my life that it really reminds me of is when my youngest son was born. He was born 3 months premature. barely even weighed 3 pounds. And I remember just knowing, like, okay, I have to take care of him at the hospital 45 minutes away. I have 3 other sons at home that I have to take care of. I still have a full-time job I had to work. And it just felt like I had an insurmountable amount of work, similar to what Matt Campbell and his staff are going through. But that's where therapy can be a huge asset to people under stress. They can give you super helpful tips like taking things one step at a time. Even if those steps aren't perfect, you're still making meaningful progress towards your goals. Therapy can offer the support and fresh perspective that help you recognize the progress you're making without requiring perfection. And a great place to do this is BetterHelp, the sponsor of today's video. BetterHelp makes starting therapy easier. Take a quiz and get matched with a licensed therapist who is right for you quickly, and you can switch anytime at no extra cost if it's not the right fit. Click the link in the description of this video or go to betterhelp.com/Big10 guys and get 10% off your first month of therapy. And you don't want to miss out on that. Just like these recruits do not want to miss out on coming to Penn State. And that's going to be the next part of this video, is talking about, like, yeah, you lost out on some wide receiver commits, but you had a lot of guys last year who didn't miss out on that Penn State offer. And Penn State had an incredible recruiting and transfer portal class last year. Recruiting, they lost quite a few when they had the coaching switch. But I want you to notice, out of the 11 players who are coming in as true freshmen, 1, 2, 3 of them are wide receiver recruits. So you have 3 true freshmen on the team, and you also brought in 4 wide receivers in the transfer portal. Like, you already have a lot of wide receiver talent on this team. And so if all you come away with is Khalil Taylor, like, you're going to be just fine. And honestly, even if you end up missing out on Khalil Taylor, you are going to be just fine. Because another thing that Penn State has been talking about quite a bit is their commitment to the tight end position. They've been recruiting tight ends like crazy, and Matt Campbell has been saying, like, I want this school to be a destination for tight ends. He was asked if he would play 5 tight ends at the same time. He's like, hey, it's possible. Like, I love me some tight ends. And that's following a trend that you've been seeing in the NFL, where the Rams have started playing a lot of 3 tight end sets, because when you have that kind of size on the field, for one, you can run the ball like crazy, but for 2, the defense has to counter with all that size, and then a lot of these tight ends are too quick or too big for these linebackers to cover, and it just creates a lot of mismatches. And so, like, Penn State in the near future might be a team that's coming out in a lot of 2 and 3 tight end sets, and maybe only has 1 or 2 wide receivers on the field at the same time. So while it would have been incredible for you to have 3 different high-end 4-star receivers come in the same class, you have to wonder if some of these guys were looking at Penn State and they're like, man, they're going to be running a lot of 2 and 3 tight end sets. They already have a ton of wide receiver talent there. Maybe this isn't the right fit for me, but this Penn State offense is going to be completely fine. And not only do I think this team is set up really well recruiting-wise for the future with the great start Matt Campbell has had, they're going to contend this year. I've been saying that over and over again. Like, with Rocco Becht, he's going to be able to elevate this offense. It's got a ton of talent around him as well. The defense should be solid. And then this schedule is just a cakewalk. Like USC, Michigan, Washington, those are probably the only 3 ranked teams you'll play all year. USC, I would imagine, is going to be that night game whiteout. And while I think USC is the best team on Penn State's schedule, we all know how those whiteouts go at Happy Valley. They're tough for anyone to play in, let alone a team from the West Coast who doesn't really have much experience in those games and will be traveling across the country for it. Then you got Michigan. You know, I told you at the beginning of the video, I'm a Michigan fan. But even I will tell you, like, we don't really know what we have at the quarterback position this year. Bryce Underwood, 5-star, ton of talent, but some of the evidence we've been seeing in the spring is that maybe he hasn't grown the way that we would have liked him to. You never know. Like, you can't take too much into account for spring ball. But, like, Michigan, while I think they're better this year, they are by no means, like, an unbeatable team. It'll be tough because it's on the road. But same with Washington. They're going to be a good team. They're set at QB. Damon Williams is a star, but still, like they're not Indiana, they're not Ohio State, they're not Oregon. None of those three teams are on Penn State's schedule. I think all three of those big three games are winnable for Penn State. Even if you win one of the three, you're probably going 10-2 this year. 11-1 is well within the realm of possibility. So I just feel like Penn State is set up this year. They're set up for the future. They still have a really good recruiting class, and it's super impressive to have that, considering you just had coaching turnover. And you got to be hyped as Penn State fans, even if it's been a frustrating couple of weeks. So you guys comment below. Give me your thoughts on any of that. And then don't forget, just like and subscribe on your way out.